It's game time. The Kid Gowie. Ravens Nation. All we know is purple and black. And if you're not a Ravens fan, welcome to Baltimore, Maryland, M&T Bank Stadium, where opponents don't make it out alive unless we bury them. Every team be afraid of them, especially all the quarterbacks, cause our defensive linemen won't hesitate to leave you sacked. Let's take a minute, go back to Super Bowl 35. Domination was an understatement up against the Giants. Numerous touchdowns, they put up numbers, and it didn't take a nutritionist to see they hunger. Only stat Kerry Collins could get was interceptions. He must have thought throwing to the D counted as receptions. The pass was legendary, but don't sleep on the present. Our secondary make quarterbacks avoid their direction. You tryna run the ball, you better hope your blockers work. You can juke, you can spin, but your destination's the turf. This is a man's game, being soft will get you hurt. Watch the defense force a fumble and the fans go berserk. 17 weeks, only one league out of 32 squads. No one's messing with our team. We all bleed black and purple, you can check our IVs. Raven Nation fly high, watch us all spread our wings. Put your game face on, embarrass the competition. You ain't talking about the greatest if the Ravens aren't mentioned. Screw every other team, cause those dudes are whack. In Baltimore, the only thing we know is purple and black. Go! They always win when the championship's on the line. So if you hoping that they failed, then you really wasting your time. Go and ask the 49ers, I'm pretty sure they remember when they made a comeback, but weren't declared the winners. 2 rings down, but you know they won't stop now. If the opposing D's caught slipping, you know exactly how that goes. That's another deep connection for 6 points in the end zone. The stadium goes wacko as Ravens put in work. Pittsburgh Steelers, that still curtain is looking more like a skirt. So tell me who they say is gonna beat them Bengals. Who used to be the Browns until they relocated? Ravens, they are one of the greatest. There's simply no denying it. To beat them, bringing your A game's a requirement. With the youth of the team, I bet they still be dominant, even after the greatest linebacker's retirement. 17 weeks, only one league out of 32 squads. No one's messing with our team. We all bleed black and purple, you can check our IVs. Raven Nation fly high, watch us all spread our wings. Put your game face on, embarrass the competition. You ain't talking about the greatest if the Ravens aren't mentioned. Screw every other team, cause those dudes are whack. In Baltimore, the only thing we know is purple and black. Go!
Yo, what's going on? Sunny here on another video. Shout out to all of you. Shout out to the ones that are joining now. Shout out to the ones that will joining later. Shout out to the ones that are watching this replay. Thank you, that Kid Gowie. I always mention that Kid Gowie. Great song. It's amazing hype. If you're a Ravens fan, you can go ahead at Spotify. You can find the Spotify. You can find it on YouTube as well. Go check my guy, comedian from Baltimore. Super funny. A lot of LeBron impersonations. Dude is pretty cool. Pretty cool dude. I talked to him once or twice. He's pretty cool dude. So anyway, shout out to everybody that is here. Like I said, as draft is here, we are going to do some players profile, and then we're going to do some mock draft. I'm going to try to have guests every week. For some effing reason, I still had the damn cold that prevented me to be here for like a week, but I'm here. Let me see here. Shout out to everybody that I was doing in the chat. Raymond 76, B More, Justin Eggman, Thomas Morgan, the Joker, Terrence, Austin, and shout out to everybody that will be joining in the near future. I'm gonna go because I have my guest in the back. I'm gonna go ahead with the draft profile. That's how I want to start the show. It's gonna be one draft profile on the live stream, and then one during the week. Okay. So last week in Raven talked about this dude, and so I went in. It took like 3 days of just watching different films that I found from the guy. If you ask me about his pro day, I had no idea because I haven't watched any pro days. None, zero, nothing. Okay, so don't ask me about 40 times because I haven't watched that because I don't care about no 40 times. Ojulari, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. 27 tackles. 27 sacks, that would be crazy. 8 sacks and 8.5 sacks and 4 forced fumble. 6'3", 240. It's quasi small in my opinion for the position. For even if you want to kick him in, it's definitely smaller to kick him in. For outside, it all depends. And we'll talk about what I see for him. Look, here's some games that I went and saw what rank against ranked team. Cincinnati, 4 tackles, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumble. He ate them alive. Like, he needs to go frame that game and show it. That he ate them alive. Missouri, 2 tackles. That's it. He didn't do anything else. Florida, 5 tackles. Alabama, 2 tackles. Tennessee, 4 tackles, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble. Auburn, 5 tackles, 1 sack, 0 forced fumbles. Okay, here's what I saw from this guy. I know my guy in Raven liked him a lot. I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't think he's a first round pick. I don't think he should be a first rounder. Let me rephrase this. I don't think he should be a first rounder. You know what he reminds me? And this guy that I'm gonna tell you got me very hyped a couple years ago. Kamali Correa. Dude got me very high. I was super excited about Kamali Correa. I actually think Kamali Correa was a better pass rusher than this dude. But anyway, let's talk about him. He's not consistent getting off the ball. So, all these prospects, this pass rush class, I don't think there's no clear cut like this dude is the greatest pass rusher in this class. There's none, right? So one of the things I was sometimes like, holy crap, that dude, like, off the snap, like, he was there, he was getting. Sometimes, like, am I watching a delay? Right? Like, consistency. Another problem with consistency, sometimes I'm like, look at how he's bending that edge and the dude can get low. And I was like, this is what you want from an outside backer, right? He's bending and he was able to beat the tackle like that. And some other times, I'm like, dude, he's giving you the outside. Like, bending, go get. Like, I saw you in the previous play. I saw you bending. I don't know if he just doesn't like it. I don't know if it's just that natural for him. But it's very hard. There's tackles that cannot keep up with a player that can bend, right? Because the feet are not quick enough. And I feel like he didn't do it consistently. Again, I think as I was watching tape, I think what it was, it doesn't come natural to him. I don't think it's a move that is natural. It's better than not having it, but I don't think it's natural. Needs to work on hands placement. He lets the tackle sometimes come too quickly for him. And that will happen, right? Now, again, none of these processes are perfect, but it will happen. But I feel like, and my criticism with Ferguson, I'm not saying that this guy's like Ferguson, but with Ferguson, if a tackle got to him, I said, like, dude is a magnet, the tackle's attached to him, he's out of the play. I feel like this dude didn't really have a counter. Like as soon as the tackle got to this dude's body, there was no get me out of here. Now, I will say, first punch, if he delivers the first blow, he does have bowling hands, right? But if the tackle gets to him, it's very hard for him, as the tape that I was watching, to get off the tackle, which is not good for the Ravens, because I feel like that's what we have, a bunch of those guys. Let me see here. I'm reading from my little notes, sorry. Needs to work on hand placement. I said that. So weight-wise, I don't think he's that. He needs it. Like, if you want to kick him in, he's too light to be kicking, right? Think about our inside, not nose tackle, a big baby, but think about Calais Campbell. Think about Wolf. big body dudes. Think about our rookie from last year, Marabuki. Think about him, right? Big body. He's more leaner. And as an outside backer, I feel like he is just almost like a pass rush specialist. I personally didn't see him dropping back. It might be out there. I just didn't see it. So that's his specialty is he's pretty good on defending the run. He doesn't over pursue. He still he squares off. He tackles fairly well. So that's all good stuff. Like I said, by the hands when he hits the hits first, you can see the power. Definitely, you can see he has power. He doesn't lack effort for all day. So sometimes he makes plays just on pure effort. I like that about him. Now, saying all this, if this dude was Ojulari was here last year, he's definitely not a first round pick. The problem or the good thing for him is this class for edge rushers is not that strong. So that's why somebody will get him in the first round and overdraft him. I think best position or best round for him, it will be definitely a second round. I can see early-ish, maybe more mid-second. So definitely if he slides to the second and the Ravens can go get him, I think it's a good pickup. First round pick, I don't know, man. I struggle, and you guys know I tell how I see it. I said the same thing for Phillips, and I said the same thing for Rousseau. I don't think none of these guys are first round picks. But, I see mocks having them all in the first round. That's fine. I personally don't think they should be a first round pick, but what the hell do I know, right? Anyway, before I go with the comments, let me introduce you to some BSers. I had the BSers here today. We had the honor to have the BSers. One of the guys I started YouTube, dudes helped me a lot. If you haven't checked them out, you have to check them out. The link is in the description below. They're trying to get to 1,000 on YouTube. They have a bunch of, don't let their numbers throw you out because they just broadcast to the world. Twitter, Facebook, and also on YouTube. So they broadcast everywhere that you have a platform, they're there. So go check them out. But let's introduce my guys. Birdland BS.
What up?
What up?
What's
Been
up?
a minute, man.
Been a minute.
Yes.
Been a minute. As you guys were hearing, and thank you for coming. Again, guys, description below. Even if you follow them on Twitter, help them get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Appreciate that.
Because like I said, I know you guys broadcast everywhere, right? When I was talking to Fred, I was saying, hey, Fred, I can't watch you live now because I'm in England. And it's like 2 a.m. when they stream. But Fred knows when he was streaming live, sometimes I would watch him on Twitter, and then he saw a comment from me from Facebook because as I was moving from platform to platform, my stream went to the next platform. So hey, it was all good.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, we still doing our thing every Tuesday night, 7:30. Like you said, across all the platforms: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Don't do all the individual videos that you put all the time and effort in, and all of our buddies that have done this whole YouTube collaboration together with. But every Tuesday night you can count on an hour and a half of good fun covering all Baltimore sports, not just Ravens, Orioles, Terps, everything.
All Baltimore. So remember, Orioles are number one. I don't want to hear no Yankee. If you're a Yankee, you can leave for a moment. And the Red Sox, yeah. My boy Alex Cora, I like you, man, but not against the Orioles. So you know what? I'm happy. I was telling also Fred, I was happy that I was able to watch the Orioles for 3 days. Because today's game, I ain't watching it, right? I might watch the replay. I'm definitely gonna check the scoreboard tomorrow morning. But yeah, I can't watch those. And baseball's so long that with the Ravens, I would wake up in the middle of the night. But if I had to do that with the Orioles, it's basically every day. So it becomes very tough.
Right.
Come on, you don't want to get up every day and not be ready for work because the game's just finishing.
Dude, there was a game for the Ravens the Patriots game. I woke up at 1, so I took like a 2-hour nap. I woke up at 1, and obviously I was pissed. And I started watching Nubo in Raven. I saw in Raven here. Shout out to Raven. and Nubo, and then I texted both of them, and Raven couldn't see my text, but Nu was like, "Yeah, you can come here, hop in," and then I streamed with him up to like 5 a.m. my time, and then I just took a shower and went to work, and I went to bed like at 11 p.m. the following day. So
Ugh.
almost 24 hours.
Yuck.
And then I woke up at 5 in the morning the next day and kept rolling. So
No, thank
it's
you.
it's a bit. Anyway, let's talk here. So obviously you guys heard in the background, you were hearing about Ojulari. I'm not necessarily, I mean, if you want to put some thoughts, you can do it, but it is something that I brought up with the Raven. Ravens do have cap.
Mm-hmm.
This year's draft class for Edge, I haven't done it all, by the way. So spare me if you're like, oh, this dude is amazing. I haven't. I'm going through the guys, and I take some time. So it's not like a day here. So it will take me some time. But so far, I'm not impressed. Like when people talk to me about Rousseau, Phillips, and Ojalari, first round picks, I'm like, really? These dudes?
Yeah.
So what I said was the Ravens should go and get 2 or 3 of these veteran guys that are just out there sitting, and they might already have quasi deals with them, saying like, hey, as soon as for whatever reason, the Ravens like to do this, but when the period that it will count against my compensatory passes, I might sign you. So you might see a couple guys drop.
Right.
But I think that's what they need to do. And I know people are like, oh, more money to the defense. Yeah, but the problem is, in the draft, offensively, if it is an O-line or if it is a receiver, there's prospects.
Yeah.
Edge, I mean, you can take a flyer in a third, but the problem is, if the people that should be drafted second and third are being drafted in the first, that means the third round pick that used to be there is going to be in the first. If you draft a guy in the third, it's probably going to be should be a fifth or sixth. So anyway, I want to hear you guys' thoughts. What do you guys think about what should be the Ravens strategy?
So I agree with you 100%. I said this on last week's show, is that especially in the first round, pick number 27, it's got to be the most impactful player right away that you can get. And in this draft, I don't think there's a whole lot of depth at edge rusher. And like you said, some of these guys at the top of the draft, I do like the guys from Miami, but I think all these guys potentially could go before we even get a chance at 27 because there's no depth there, and people are going to be reaching and people are going to be trying to scoop these guys up. So I do think the Ravens kind of have some backdoor things going with maybe a Justin Houston or, somebody like that on the free agent market, maybe even a Ryan Kerrigan, somebody on the lower end that I think would be good fits, could come in obviously as veterans and play right away and make an impact right away. But with this draft pick, man, you got to nail it, right? And we've got multiple needs. Obviously, edge rusher is a big need, but we've got needs at wide receiver. We've got needs on the offensive line. And I think there's more impactful players at those two positions that could have an impact right away.
Scott?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think there's too many guys that we need to fill bigger holes elsewhere. And the defense we've seen it be able to handle itself. And we've also seen, we saw it this week. I know he's not there as an edge rusher, right? But I've been a big proponent of LJ Fort from the get-go. I thought he was a diamond in the rough for what we were getting and the value that you were getting out of him. I know he doesn't play edge, but he helps that front line if he can help. I mean, he's a sideline-to-sideline type linebacker. So he's a guy that can maybe make up for holes at edge rusher a little bit. I'm not saying he's the end all be all, but because of his ability to go, from sideline to sideline, that might cover up a hole a little bit more. It might give a Jalen Ferguson a little bit more of a chance to work on the edge a little bit more and have more time, more snaps, and get better. I think there's a lot to be said with that. And I think that, to Fred's point, there are some bigger holes that we can address early in this draft that we could really help solidify this offense for what it needs to be.
Hopefully. We never know how the hell this draft's going to fall, but hopefully.
No.
Now, you said something very interesting there. I disagree that the two Miami guys that you said, I don't think they're ready to be impactful day one. And my scare with these rookies are they probably will come to this team and they want to contribute in sacks. And that's when you see that back door being open for a big run, right? Because they don't set up the edge. That scares me a lot. I think that's why I think they're going to draft a edge rush. I don't know where. I think they're going to draft one. But if you have the veterans, at least that guy can grow. Maybe that's an even play this year. Oh, man, I think receiver, O-line could be the pick. Now, the question is, now moving to the O-line. Let's talk about a little bit of O-line. We have our left tackle.
Yep.
Reluctantly, we have our left guard. I'm not the biggest fan of Bozeman, but we have him, and he will be the starter next year, no matter what, unless he gets injured. I'm not wishing injury to him, by the way, but he will be the starter left guard. Center is a question mark. Right guard, you have your right guard, Seidler. And right tackle, we have Orlando Brown. Now, what's going to happen with Orlando Brown?
Right.
I don't know. But the interesting is the story out there is compensation is for the Ravens is out there. It's money-wise. Now, this is coming down to the wire because if you don't trade him by the draft, it's going to be even harder, in my opinion, to trade for good compensation. Looks like Orlando Brown wants to get really big money, right? He wants to get paid. So I think right now he has the decision either stays with the Ravens. I think now as time goes, the possibility of him coming back to the Ravens increases. But if he wants to be a left tackle, in my opinion, what he can do is then like, I'll take this trade. I'll play left tackle. You don't have to pay me. I'll prove myself to be a great left tackle. And next year, you're either going to franchise me 20 plus mil, or you're going to have to pay me all this money. What do you think is going to happen with the Orlando Brown situation?
I personally think the Ravens are hoping to trade him before the draft. I think they're thinking that they can get good draft compensation for him because honestly, if not, then the other option is hanging on to him for this year, using him obviously at right tackle. Obviously, it depends on the health of Ronnie Stanley. He might have to start the season at left tackle. We'll see what happens there. But they're going to get a third-round compensatory pick for him if he goes, leaves in free agency. So they know that they've got that in their back pocket. They're looking for a late first, maybe a couple of seconds for Orlando Brown, and if they can flip him, this is a good draft to do it because there is a lot of offensive tackle depth in this draft, especially in that first and second round. So if you're going to replace a Ronnie Stanley, which it sounds like you're going to have to at some point, this is probably the draft to do it. A guy like Tevin Jenkins out of Oklahoma State's a guy I got my eye on at right tackles, obviously played there and done really well. That if the Ravens are in a bind, they need somebody to come in and start right away. I think he can fit that bill at 27.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Tevin Jenkins is on my radar because not only has he played left tackle and right tackle, I think last year, I think it was 2019, he played 9 snaps. Or not, sorry, not 9 snaps, 9 games where he was the starting right tackle, and then he had like 3 games where he was a starting left tackle. So his versatility can fill that hole, and he can be a long term at either place. This guy he's a lot of people have him projected, anywhere between about 21 to about 29. So he falls in that area where he absolutely could fall to us, and he's a guy that I have my eye on him. I don't know how many people are going to be looking at him. That's going to be the key piece, and especially if you can get. If you can get the value picks that you think you could get for Orlando Brown, that could be if they feel like he's not going to be there, is that a guy that they're willing to go up and get because of that versatility? We've been seeing that with a lot of players that they've been going after the past several years is the versatility, right? And Fred's been big on that for a lot of these guys. So I see it fitting into the mold. And he's a guy I really, glad that Fred and I are on the same page. We haven't even talked about this, which is crazy, because we're exactly on the same page. That's a guy that's the highest on our radar, and I think has the best potential as an offensive lineman and really a tackle in general to be in our wheelhouse.
Now that's only if they make this trade. If they trade Orlando Brown, I'm going Jenkins. If they keep Orlando Brown for this year, we have other needs, and we need to cash in on this window that we have right now this coming year.
So that means you guys both are out on Terry Phillips.
Let's see, Tyree Phillips. I'm not saying I'm out on him. I like him more as a rotational guy. I don't like him as an everyday
so he's
starter.
your backup. He's your backup.
He's my backup. He can play both sides. He can even move inside if need be.
Oh, he was horrible inside. Let me say
He
this.
can. I'm saying that's the best option he could.
If you need to put a body in there, that's what he's for.
Yeah.
As a tackle, he wasn't great, but he was like years better than as a guard.
Yeah.
And he's a big dude. I don't know. As a guard, it was like people were like, just move out of the way, dude. And they were just going straight to Lamar. Like it was. I was just the first couple games in the season. Lamar was getting so much pressure inside. He was one of the culprits. Skura as well, but he was big on that. And I was like, why are we keep pushing this dude? Because I remember I was like, just throw Fuller out there as a guard because Fuller has to play guard. Anyway,
he's still raw. He's still
He's
raw.
very
Hadn't
raw.
played a whole lot of football in his day, so he's still got some work to do for sure.
he is very raw. So now let's kick it inside for the center position, right?
Mm-hmm.
The center position, I will keep saying this. I was very disturbed with McCarthy's comment at the end of the year when he said that 7,500 people was the reason why he was bad snapping the ball. And I was like, well, next year, stadiums are going to be super loud because fans are coming back.
Yeah,
and I was like, this is not good. If this is really the reason, that is horrible. And I don't want you as my center because you are a decent blocker, but snapping the ball is very bad. Now, the Ravens in free agency didn't seem to be very urgent to get a center. They weren't. And there was some out there, right? So I wonder if the reason is because they were good between him and Tristan Colon Castillo. And they're like, between these two, they can fight it up and get a center, and we could probably draft a guy and make a competition with these three. But I want to see what you guys think about the center position for the Ravens.
Yeah, the center position is too crucial to the success of any offense, and we saw how bad the effect of having just the snapping issues itself was, and that came from both Skura and Makari, right? I'm not sold on Colon Castillo. Listen, he played, 2 games last year, and he did good in those 2 games, and he played against damn good defensive fronts. I get that. And the Ravens obviously have a much better idea of what they've got in him. So if they do value him as a starter, good on them. And maybe they know something that we don't. I'm just not ready to push all my chips on the table on Colon Castillo. He's still an unknown to me. It's 2 games. It's a small sample size. If we're sitting at 27, I personally think the best pick for us, even if we have one of these big name wide receivers that we're all clamoring for out there, I think the more impactful player in this offense right now is getting a guy like Landon Dickerson, the center out of Alabama. Somebody like that, to me, I think makes a bigger impact in this offense because it's a big need.
Okay, Scott?
Yeah, I mean, I see Landon Dickerson, but the other guy that I'm looking at is definitely going to be Creed Humphrey, right? Because he's a guy, Oklahoma, right? We seem to like getting guys from there, and he's going to be a guy that I think you could get, depending on how it goes. I think he's definitely going to go. My thought is second round, but possibly he could fall to the third round if things fell the right way. You might be able to pull something off there, but I think he'll go second round. So he's a guy that I'm really looking at and saying, there's where I think we can go. Landon Dickerson is, from everything I've been reading on him going in the first round is a stretch. Is way beyond a stretch. He would be a third or a fourth, maybe even a fifth round guy, depending on how things go. I just don't see. I think
history. He has injury histories, right?
Well, and I think he on Landon Dickerson.
He's a surefire first round pick in my opinion, 100%. Maybe early second.
I think Creed Humphrey will be. The thing is, the centers and the interior linemen, they get the value just because of that, right? Mm-hmm. So they usually get late first at best, which is what the Ravens are picking, or second. Preferably, the best centers usually get picked second round, historically.
We'll see.
But
I think it's, again, you can't draft on everybody else's needs or what the averages say. You have to draft to what this team needs. And I know the Ravens have always done the whole best player available and all that stuff, but this might be one of those years that's best player available to your immediate needs. And center, in my opinion, is an absolute immediate need. Again, that's me not knowing the inside, work with Colon Castillo. The Ravens might know more about him, or they should know more about him than I would know. So that's just my opinion on the center position. I think it's crucial.
Yeah, I was impressed with him in the Steelers game, right? That was the game that he started, and the Steelers had a good D-line. They have a good D-line, and he held his own. It was a very small sample, but as you said, look, if I think I'll lean here more with Scott. If Creed Humphrey's there, I like what I've seen. I haven't done a deep scouting on him. I'm definitely, he's a possibility. No,
Dickerson
I think
is 6'6", 333 pounds.
I know.
Just
He's a big boy.
know.
He's a big boy. I did scout Dickerson. I did scout Dickerson because I remember scouting him right after I scouted Slater. And one of my things that I pointed for Slater, I love that dude, Slater.
Yeah.
But I said, like, he's tiny. Like, and then I said like Dickerson's 6'6". I forgot whatever pants you said. And I said Slater as the tackle is 6'3" and lighter. But excellent. He's an excellent lineman. So that means you guys are out on receiver for the first round?
No, not out on receiver in the first round at all. That's obviously 1A and 1B as far as needs, in my opinion.
And how about you, Scott?
Yeah, I mean, I if it's kind of one of those situations, it's best player available, and it's the hole that you need. So it's both things. So if Landon Dickerson and Creed Humphrey are both still there, I'm waiting to the second round to go for a center. If I'm looking at wide receivers and I've got a top wide receiver that's there, might be going there. This is why I hate kind of predicting drafts, because it's so hard. We all know that, right? There's so many times in a draft you go, what? The Philadelphia Eagles just drafted who? Right? There's always the Philadelphia Eagles, question mark. But I think if I'm going for one over the other, I'm not ruling out the wide receiver. If one of these guys is off the board, I'm taking the other one. If they're both there, I'm going wide receiver. And I really just say that because of the Sammy Watkins thing, right? I don't know if you're going to talk about that later or not.
Yeah,
but,
let's talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like with them adding Sammy Watkins, that adds a weapon. I'm truly still not sold on Sammy. I think to Fred's point in our show last week, he talked about his versatility, and I've kind of gone back and said, you know what? Yeah, he's a little more versatile than I thought he was. And you go back and you look at some of his Buffalo days, especially where he was with Greg Roman. But I think the issue that I take is the numbers over the past few years have been more out of the slot for him, and those numbers have looked very similar to Willie Snead. And prior to the contract, I wasn't a big fan because I was figuring, all right, he's going to cost more than Willie Snead would have cost us and give us the same exact production. I'm not fully, sold on him, but I'm buying in a little bit more. So I think he helps out and he gives you another receiver that's a legitimate target that can go up and get the ball, and be somewhat of a red zone threat at times. So I think I'm not going to rule out wide receiver. If it really comes down to which one of these centers is there, if both of them are there, I am going that because I figure I can get one of them in the second round. But if one of them's gone, I'm going here instead of wide receiver.
Listen, if we're sitting there at 27 and we've got the option for Dickerson, Humphrey, Marshall, and Bateman, all four of those guys somehow magically fall, close your eyes and fucking pick, and I'm going to be happy.
Oh, they're going to trade back.
Or trade back and get some other picks. Either way, I like all of those guys for the fit on this team. I know when we talk wide receiver rankings and you listen to some of the scouts out there and you listen to some of the experts out there, they've got Bateman and Marshall all ranked different. Some of them got them high, some of them got them low. You can't really pay attention to all that. You got to look at what this offense is and what their impact would be in this offense, right? And I think both of those guys, Bateman and Marshall, would have a huge impact in this offense. So I'd be happy regardless whether they go center or wide receiver. The only thing I'll say is I think this draft has a little bit more wide receiver depth, more so than center depth. That's why I say 1A, 1B. They're right there for me. I like either one of them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. I think the problem that I have with the Sammy Watkins signing, the guys know here that I rank it as a meh. That was my reaction. And the reason why I love the contract. Because the contract's $5 million. It was less than Willie Snead. But it's like 5 games, 6 games, maybe you're going to get for him. And I'm not saying that he's not going to be in the field, but that's roughly what he performs for 5 or 6 games, right? He is not a guy. He will have one great game. You're like, F yeah, look at this dude. Amazing. And then was he in the field? That's the next game. That's your next game reaction. Also injuries, right? So I think that's why you need a receiver. I love Bateman. I will say I did both Bateman and Marshall. I like Marshall's length because I want a bigger body receiver. Bateman, when I scouted, it said it was 6'2". Somebody sent me in the Pro Day.
Over 6 foot.
Yeah, I don't like that, but the dude plays big.
He plays big.
Dude plays big. Yeah. And he has amazing hands. He snatches that ball. I love it. I love everything that is to love with the Bateman. I think he's my favorite.
Yep.
If I take obviously the big portion of the receivers that are not gonna be part of it. But to be fair, receivers, last couple of years have been sliding. Think about CD Lamb. We almost got CD Lamb last year. The Costa called Gruden to trade up to get CD Lamb. The Cowboys snatched it before that, but they try. So if a receiver maybe slides a little bit, the problem is if there's a receiver that is going to slide, who do you think it's going to be? I think it's going to be Smitty.
Man, I don't think any of those top guys fall. I mean, if they do, it's not far enough to even be in the consideration for us because I think they'll all be gone in that top, like, maybe 18 window.
But that is where CeeDee Lamb fell last year, and we were trying to trade up to get him.
I mean, potentially. The Ravens have a bunch of needs this year. I just don't see them giving up draft capital. They don't have a ton of picks this year to go up and move. So that's just my opinion on it. Plus, again, when they start dishing out these bigger contracts and all, they can't start giving up future draft picks because they're going to need those to replace some guys they're going to lose.
So my only concern is if Smith is the one that does drop, he might be a phenomenal player in the NFL, but I don't think he's the type of receiver that the Ravens need. He's essentially Hollywood Brown.
Right.
He might be a little bit better than Hollywood coming out of college. Okay, I'll give you that, but he's essentially Hollywood Brown. And when Hollywood Brown came out of college, I said before the Ravens drafted him that he was essentially Deshaun Jackson. We didn't have a Deshaun Jackson back there, but now we have. And we have, I love Duvernay. I think he should be fine in the slot. Who is the other guy on the other side? Who is that Bolden, T.J. Husman-Shara, Derek Mason type of receiver that the Ravens had, and we don't. And
that's what I mean by fit, right? You can rank these receivers in any which order you want to. Those two guys, Bateman and Marshall, fit this offense and fit this need the best, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And going back to real quick, just to Sammy Watkins, because I didn't get a chance to say anything on Sammy Watkins. My thing with him, and like Scott kind of alluded to, the versatility, I was comparing that in the three receivers that the Ravens were going at the time. You were looking at Sammy Watkins, you were looking at Juju, and you were looking at T.Y. Hilton. I didn't like any of the three, but if you're going to sign one, I thought the most value was in Sammy Watkins because, one, you were going to have to give him a ton of money. That was one. Two, because of his versatility, being able to play inside and outside. I thought Juju and T.Y. were both kind of more pigeonholed inside. I thought that Sammy gave us more versatility on both ways. And Greg Roman likes to move receivers around constantly, which is, I think, a good thing for Sammy Watkins and why he had success with him in Buffalo. Listen, I'm not blown away by it. It was a move that was a necessity. You don't lose Willie Snead and think your wide receiver core is now better. You had to have a veteran presence. Because the average age on the receivers before you brought Sammy Watkins in was like 23, 24. You had to bring somebody in, a veteran in that knew the system, that was comfortable in the system. And like I said last week, one of the things that made him successful in Kansas City is one of the things that makes Mark Andrews successful in this offense is that when the play breaks down, he looks for open space. He comes back to the quarterback, and that's why Andrews does so well in this offense. And I think Sammy Watkins can have a similar impact at the wide receiver position.
Yep. And the other thing we also need to do is a tight end. One of the things that last time that I mentioned this, people were drilling on me because people were like, what happened with Birdland? And I said, look, I did a report of Birdland last year, and I said that I did like it a lot. But he was very injured, and you don't know a player like that is coming, and you cannot count on a guy that was undrafted pick from the year before, haven't seen the field. And then somebody else said Eli Wolf. I said I never liked Eli Wolf. I thought Eli Wolf was a great player for what the Ravens had him sit in the practice squad. We kept losing tight ends throughout the year. They never called Eli Wolf because he wasn't ready. So I cannot count on either of these two guys, but we cannot break camp with two healthy tight ends. We need at least three. We use the tight ends a lot, and I think that was one of the worst moves that we did last year.
I 100% agree with you, and I don't know much about him yet because I haven't dove into him enough yet, and I will. But the kid Oliver that we picked up from Jacksonville, a lot of people are high on this kid. I know he's had some injury history as well, but a lot of people think for what we ended up giving up that there's good value there, that he can be that pass-catching threat. He's a good hybrid, good blocker and pass-catching threat. But I think that that's absolutely crucial to this offense because it made a huge difference not having Hayden out there along with Mark. Too much concentrated attack on Mark Andrews and eliminating him.
Yep.
Yeah.
And go ahead, Scott.
I was just say, we saw last year with Boyle. Boyle took a step in his evolution, as far as I'm concerned, before the injury, because we were seeing him being utilized more. He was catching balls out of the backfield, and he was kind of taking the pressure off of Andrews to an extent, which then opens up Andrews a little bit more because now you got to account for both guys, right? We always said Nick Boyle, he's no doubt the best blocking tight end potentially in the league, right? But he made that next step. He showed he can say, okay, when you need to get me the ball, I'll get it done, right? And so I think going and getting that 3 tight end set, and we've shown the success that this team has had with a 3 tight end set on a regular basis. We need to get back to that. That's where I think we made leaps and bounds with this offense. And I think if we do that again, we'll see it. I'm going to put one name out there just to say I wouldn't be surprised if this guy falls into the 4th round to see the Ravens take him if he's on the board, just as best player available. Hunter Long out of Boston College. The guy's 6'5", 253. He is a solid frame. He runs like a 4'7", 4'8", so that's not bad for a tight end at that frame and that size. I think it's something to watch out for. I think they do need to get it. I think if it happens, it's going to be that 3rd or 4th round type situation because you need to build that tight end room for the future.
Yeah, no, I agree. Think about this. I feel like as the tight ends were getting injured, our offense was getting worse with them too.
Yep.
Lamar likes those tight ends. They're the security blanket. In the case of Andrew, he does the mid routes, but he also sometimes goes deep. Nick Boyle doesn't go deep as much, which lets him go there. When we were running Patrick Carr, and I know people love Patrick Carr, but Patrick Carr is not to be out there running anything other than a flat route.
Right.
The flat is the only. Dude is too big to run anything, and he just looks like he's going in slow-mo. And the flat is just quick enough that he can get it, and he can get a couple yards because the dude is strong. It's hard to tackle. But as soon as he goes a little bit further out on a route, somebody can pick that book and say, dude looks in slow-mo, so he's keeping the play, right? That's not his forte. So it's not nothing against him. That's just not his forte. And we had to do that last year because of injuries. We cannot break him with 2 tight ends. I think what I want for this Ravens offense is add a receiver, add a tight end. With the center, I'm going to say with the center, I'm going to trust whatever they think. If they take the center saying house between TCC or Macari, I'm just going to trust that. And the right tackle position, it's all about, do you trade Orlando Brown? And if you trade him, that pick, go get a tackle, right? Like if you trade Orlando Brown, a minimum has to be a 1st-round pick. If you don't get a 1st-round pick, I'll lose my shit. I will tell you here right now, I will lose my shit. And I've been very critical of Eric DeCosta in this offseason from past draft, not necessarily for what he did this offseason, but for past draft. If he doesn't get a 1st-round pick, I'm going to lose my shit. But if you trade Orlando Brown, and let's say you get 13, 15, 17 round, right? Like the pick, go get yourself a tackle. And if you think there's a receiver there and you can get the tackle at 27, okay, that's fine. I'm good with that. But you need to get yourself a tackle because building the O-line, look at Baker Mayfield, how 1 year the leap was because pay for the right tackle, drafted a left tackle, and their interior was decent. So bolster that O-line. Baker's numbers went up. He had protection.
So let me throw something out there then. Like, if obviously I know both of you guys have talked about if it doesn't happen before the draft, it shouldn't happen at all. But let's say they go ahead and you wind up getting a center and maybe a late round pick for the offensive line, and you feel that they can do the job and sustain this offense. Do you have a problem if after the draft they say, you know what, we found a replacement, or we shored up this offensive line enough that we can, trade off Orlando Brown? If that means for the next 2 years, not this year, but the next 2 years, you can get 2 first-round picks because it's a little bit less proven. Is that worth it to you at that point?
Yeah, I mean, that's, again, it's all going to depend on the compensation for it. But I mean, if you're talking 1st-round picks, at this point, regardless, you're losing, Orlando Brown, and all you're going to gain by losing him is a 3rd-round compensation pick. If that can be transferred into a 1st-round pick in some form or fashion, whether it's this year, next year, I'm fine with that. But you better have the piece in place to replace him, whether that's this year, to Sonny's point, or, you know, use that pick next year. Because you got to have somebody that's going to come in and be a viable starter. You got to remember this year, like Sonny said, when the offense started falling apart, it wasn't just the tight end injuries. It was the offensive line injuries and issues, right? Ronnie Stanley goes down, and everybody wanted to hype up the job that Orlando did at the left tackle, and he did. He did a great job at left tackle. The problem was they never replaced Orlando at right tackle, right? The job that everybody tried to do at right tackle was terrible. And then you've got the snapping issues. So, again, to me, just offensive line has to be a priority. It can't be something that you put out in hopes and dreams. If you've got players that you feel are immediate impact players that you know are going to make a difference, you make those picks this year if you can.
Yep. And to be honest, look, I'm not the biggest Tyree Phillips guy, but at least I would say with Phillips, I did see progression. So hopefully if he does everything right in the offseason, he has the potential to be a tackle. Well, he has no potential to be a guard, but he has the potential to be a tackle. It's just he was very raw, and we can't go to the season as day one. That's your starter. You can if an injury happens, well, injury happens. But as your starter day one, you need somebody way more polished. And there's there's some guys. Look, guys, I might be able to take a call or two. So text to this number. Remember, if you call, you get banned. Just like that. Text to this number. We're going to do here a mock draft. I'm going to let the BSers are going to be the ones doing the pick. Can you see that? Yeah, you can see that.
Yeah, just made it bigger. Yep.
Perfect. I don't know if you use the draft network machine, but they call you to make trades. That's the new thing. I didn't know that. I literally just did this before. So let's do this. It's a 3-round mock, not that deep. And like I said, I'll let you guys do the picks. And for everybody that's out there, you can charm in. Okay. Let me see. Can I go down here? There you go. I'm gonna pause it the pick before the Ravens so we can see who's out there. Because I think if they call you, you can like, oh wait, let me just see. At least I don't know how to do it. Oh wait, we didn't talk, but our guy from the Jets got traded.
Yeah, I saw that for basically a bag of balls.
Yeah, a 7
your
round.
Guy is right there at the top, Ojulari.
That's my guy. Yeah. Okay, so the Browns haven't picked. The Browns, the rumor is they're gonna go with edge. I mean, that's what I keep hearing. But here's edge, running back. We don't need a running back. I said that last year. I still sustain that. Wide receiver, Marshall's the only one. Looks like Bates left already. If we go to tackles, wow, here you go. The tackles. You get there's your no. I started doing Mayfield. Leatherwood's not that bad. But all these guys could be 2nd-round picks. Yep. And then where's my interior O-line?
Both. I like it.
There's both of them. And if we go, by the way, I love the safety from TCU.
Yeah.
I went and scouted him because I kept seeing people like putting it to us. And I'm like, what is the hype with this dude? Yeah, the hype is real.
But not more of a need right now, in my opinion.
I'll be happy. Anyway, I'm gonna run it, and then so you roughly see what there's Kiwi Paye that people love. I personally haven't scouted him, so for me, he is a black box. But let's run this thing here. You see that? That's how they call you.
Interesting.
that's what I saw. Right. So there you go.
No.
You get
a second, a fifth, and a seventh,
7 and a 6.
No.
For dropping 9. For dropping 9 decline. Nope. Okay.
A 5th and a 7th.
Okay, so who you picking?
All right. So obviously we've talked about it. How much do we need at edge? I'm not blown away with any of the guys that are there, honestly. Those, I don't know. Can you go to wide receiver real quick? Because if Bateman's gone, I didn't see him get taken. I must have just missed it. Okay. All right.
Bateman went to Chicago 20.
Okay, to the Bears. Okay. Yeah, so at this point, I'm all in on either Terrace Marshall or either one of the centers. If I had to pick, like I told you earlier, yes, I think Marshall makes a huge impact, and I'd be fine with that pick here. But there's a little bit more wide receiver depth in this draft than there is interior offensive linemen that can come in and make an immediate impact. we're taking a big gamble that one of those centers is going to be there on the second round pick. So, Scott, what is your opinion on it?
I mean, we're torn on this because I said if both guys were there, I'm waiting until the second round. And I think, giving him another wide receiver, not just for now, but for the future. I mean, Sammy Watkins is only on a 1-year deal. What are you going to do next year? Right? We don't know what's going to come out of it next year. I think the wide receiver is where I would want to go just for that simple reason. I don't know what next year looks like. So, and both guys are still on the board. It increases the likelihood of either a trade or B, that they're still there, come our next pick.
Yeah, I like it. I'm good with Terrace Marshall. What do you think, Sonny?
I tend to agree. To be honest, I didn't love the trade proposal they gave you, but this is a position maybe trade back a couple spots.
Just seemed like low value, 5th and a 7th. I mean, you're not going to get much out of a 7th and a 5th.
Yeah,
I would have been a 3rd.
I agree. The thing is, I mean, I scouted Marshall. I liked him. I didn't like his comment that he wants to go to a passing offense, and I did see that his.
Did you see the full interview though?
No, I didn't. I just saw the clip.
The full interview. It's not as.
It's not as much of a story as it was made out to be.
It's not as directed as it seems.
Okay. Well, the only problem that I have with Marshall was last year he had also drops, but the drops were it was the same type of drops that Hollywood Brown was making, which is I'm trying to make a play. They're easy catches, but I'm already starting to look back.
Off the ball. Yeah.
Those are things that you can work with him. Before the last year, he didn't have that problem. So I'll let you guys pick. I think you couldn't go wrong.
Yeah, let's go Terrace Marshall here.
Okay, Marshall.
Fingers crossed. Give me one of them centers in a second.
What we can do is we can monitor. If one leaves, we can trade up. There's still both of them there.
That's insane. Hey, Matt.
Look, they're doing this too. So I'm calling them saying, here's a second and a third for a second. No, that's too much. I wonder why.
Hold on.
You see?
Another one.
They're offering the 42nd pick for our.
No, we are offering them. We are offering this 2nd and 6th. If we're giving a 3rd, a 5th.
No.
I think they're offering that.
Yeah,
right?
they're offering.
No, because it's their pick.
Hold on a second. They are offering a 2nd, which is the 46th pick for our 58th and
That's not bad.
a 4th. I would do this just to guarantee that we get a center.
Scott, you accept that?
We're like 12
What do we
picks
got?
off at this point.
12 picks, and but both are still on the clock. So I would have liked the one that you canceled before better.
You like that one better? You have to give up a 3rd.
It was a 2nd and a 5th.
No. It was 2nd, 3rd, and a 5th, and they were.
Okay.
And then they got.
We had to give up an extra pick.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it.
You passing this trade too? That's okay.
We got two centers out there. Let's see. We've gotten 3 calls. Let's decline it.
Fine. Man. Look at
2nd,
this.
a 4th for a 2nd, a 3rd, and a 5th. So that's an upgrade.
Yeah, but they want our 3rd. Ugh.
No, we get a 3rd. They get our 4th.
No. We get a 2nd and a 4th.
Oh, okay, that's what it is.
You see?
Yeah, I see the layout now. My bad.
Yeah, decline.
Yeah.
Then the Chargers.
Both centers are still on the clock.
Damn. Okay, so this is basically the Ravens are giving up the 3rd. Wait. We are giving a 3rd, but we got a 2nd round pick. What we give up?
No, they're offering their 2nd for our 3rd.
That's what I'm saying.
Next
For
year.
a 2nd and a 3rd.
Yeah.
Man.
I mean, let's look at who's picking, right?
So that gives us 2 picks in the second round now. Man, that's enticing. That's enticing because you might be able to get you can't.
So is that
look.
are we doing the compensatory second round?
Can you decline it and look like who's the edge rushers? Like, could you get a good edge rusher?
Oh, there's a counter offer button.
Yeah, it's a counter. It's a counter offer. This is new to me too. I may be able to close it, maybe, but we might be able to lose it.
Man, that's enticing.
You want to take it?
We've gotten enough calls though. I think there's going to be another call before the next one, before one of them goes
That's
off the board.
pretty freaking.
Let me close it. Let me close it
All right.
and see what happens. Let me close it. No, it goes away. It
That's
goes
okay.
away.
See what happens. Oh,
There
here we
you go.
They're
So
offering a
now
second
it's basically the Ravens are offering a 6th-round pick extra just to move a
up
couple
6
spots.
6 spots.
Nope. Still both of them on the board. I'm good.
Yep.
It's funny because it almost seems like the Ravens love.
Oh, fuck.
There you go.
This in the ass.
There
Are
you go.
you kidding
There you go. There you go. Both
F
of them
word.
went out.
Ah,
There you go. You should have taken the other one.
damn.
The Washington one looked really-
Costa.
Well, in our defense, we were trying to get out of the Washington deal just to see what was there. We
Yeah.
weren't trying to actually decline the offer yet. So
Yeah.
flaw.
That is flaw.
Vomit.
We should have stopped it and traded up when it happened.
All right, so who's on the board? Oh, okay, so this is the entire board here, right? All right.
Yeah, this is a top rank guy.
So Rousseau's still there?
Yeah.
I like him as an immediate need to get him in the second round at pick number 58. I like that because you're not going to find that kind of talent later on in this draft.
What about Frymouth at tight end?
Frymouth is good, but
With the Washington one, we could have this one and the other one.
yeah. Yep.
So I
have
love. Well,
both.
let me say this. I love Pat, whatever his last name is. 'cause I
Freiermuth.
cannot
Freiermuth.
pronounce- Yeah,
I like him too. If we had a number 1 tight end need, I think that we can have a number 2 tight end in this offense without spending such a high pick on Freiermuth. I feel like we can get not a better tight end, but have a good second tier tight end later on in this draft.
Just a reminder, you don't have a contract extension done with Mark Andrews yet.
That's getting done. That's getting done. I'm Eric DeCosta. That's getting done.
Oh, I am too. I'm just saying it's not done yet. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's getting
Okay.
done.
I'll go with Fred. We went with Marshall when I said it. I'll let you make the call on this one.
Yeah, like I said, there's not a whole lot of edge depth, and to have I never would have thought that he would have fallen that far. So I would go Rousseau in this one.
Rousseau, okay. I hate the pick, but that's okay.
You hate the pick at 58?
I think he's a third rounder.
Wow.
I'm liking that at least they automatically mocks put them at the end of the second. He's super raw. I think he's not an outside. I think he's better rushing from the
man.
inside.
Oh, so he's gone.
Oh, wait. If you want somebody, we can always trade up.
No. That's cool. That's okay.
Okay.
No worries.
Let me see. We should be picking. Oh, no, because we're
God, we
comp
could have had
pick.
them both, man. We could have had
Yeah.
Rousseau and freaking one of the centers.
Like for me, in that, if I would have made that Washington deal, I would have picked the whoever you would like as a center, and then I would have gone Pat.
Frymouth. Yeah.
Freiermuth.
Yeah, that's what I would have gone. Yeah. Okay, so here we are. Pick 104. Last pick for this mock draft, by the way, guys. Hold on. Sorry. I was just checking something here real quick. Okay, so
Scroll down a little bit.
any positions that you're looking to target?
Yeah, we still need a center, but
Interior O-line. Here is
Give me a second. I'm looking at drafts here as far as what guys are maybe available at center. In that third round. Trey Hill available.
yeah.
He's your center out of
Yes.
Georgia.
he is.
I don't know enough about Trey Hill to be blown away with the pick, but it's an absolute need. And if he played center in an SEC school and was any good, he's going to do all right in the NFL.
6'4", 330.
So you want Trey Hill?
I think so. But I mean, 184. God,
Mm-hmm.
he's projected much later.
Fourth. He's pretty that fourth
Yeah.
essentially.
Go back to the main board.
There you go. Where are you going up? So corner. There's interior D line, safety.
Not the right one from TCU though.
No, that's a counterpart. Interior O line from Alabama. I know nothing about I think I heard him passing he was a big guard. Now that we have like 1,000 guards.
I know that's the problem.
Yeah. If only.
What are the fans saying? What are the comments saying?
Hey guys, what do you guys think?
Help us out.
I think they're criticizing more than anything on the draft. They said the people over here were like, take it, no way.
Well, we wanted to take it, especially that Washington one.
The Washington one was the best one.
In our defense, that's the thing is we were just trying to look to see what was still available. So it's kind of messed up that they don't allow you to take a look.
So they're saying here wide receiver again.
I've already got a wide receiver. I'm not going 2 wide receivers here.
You're not going double? You're not going to double down?
No, not this early. I might try to find a diamond in the rough later, but
okay. So Fred said no wide receiver. What else do you guys have? I mean, to be honest, the problem here is if you don't get one of the top centers, if you don't like the rest of the centers, then center becomes not a need, right? And then wide receiver is a need, but you still have some guys. We have Prochet, we have some of the other guys. Tight end is another one. We haven't checked the tight ends here. They're saying safety, who's available in tight end. Some people are saying center.
So safety is one thing that I've got on my eye. Interior defensive line, you got Calais Campbell coming to the end of his career. You don't know what's happening with the Broderick Washington situation.
Never liked that pick.
Yeah, so I know, but there's value there. Let's see.
So that's
tight
safety.
end. What about who's on the board at tight end? Yeah, nobody that I'd be spending a third on.
Pull up the just the overall board again real quick. I guess I don't know enough about Taylor or St. Justice to be able to say that either one of them could make a transition to safety.
How about these two? USC D linemen.
Scroll down a little bit further.
If you're drafting any of these guys, this is all for future. None of these guys are going to have.
Well, yeah, I think we should. I mean, again, I don't like the Washington pick. And obviously the Ravens don't like. Look, let's be honest. Ravens don't like the Washington pick. Do you know how I know this? They signed Jelly. Washington is more of a nose tackle than he is in any other position.
Right.
If they believe in Washington, they should have said, Jelly, you know what? Thank you, but no thanks. Here, Washington, this is your time. Right?
Yeah.
Marabuki right now looks to be the guy behind Calais Campbell, roughly, between him and Wolf.
Well,
but you need another one. You need another D lineman because we rotate these bad boys.
Beyond whether you like the draft pick or not with Broderick Washington, he's got all the off the field issues going on right now. You don't even know if he's going to be available.
That's right. Well,
So
safety and tackle. You still say tackle here.
I mean, you could. I don't know what the tackle board looks like. So
here's your tackle board.
So I've heard good things about Forsyth, but is that a little too early for him?
When would our next pick be?
It's in the 4th round, but because it's a 3rd round mock draft, that's just
yeah. I was just wondering, because if it's, I can't remember what our exact pick in the 4th round was, so I was trying to figure out if it's something that we're looking 10 picks away, then with all these offensive tackles, do you?
No, it's about 26 picks away from this one.
Okay, so if I'm under the impression that we are not trading Orlando Brown right now, and we're going with Orlando Brown this year, nobody on his board blows me away enough to spend a 3rd round pick. I'm going interior defensive line here, and you can have the pick of the litter of those 3. I know a decent amount about Shelvin. I like Shelvin. I don't know anything about the 2 USC guys, to be honest with you, but they're ranked higher according to this board.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I couldn't tell you nothing.
Right.
Yeah,
I like Shelvin.
Take Shelvin. Take it.
Okay, and here will be your draft. You get Terrence Marshall, Rousseau, and Shelvin. Those are your 3 picks. I can hear Ravens fans saying, we don't invest anything in the offense. We try. We try. The draft works in mysterious ways. We try. Because that's all I hear. We don't invest enough in the offense. I think this Ravens offense, the problem is we always look at the money-wise and think about the Ravens probably have invested more in draft picks. Although last year we went. No, we went what? Defense, offense, defense.
Yeah,
Offense.
two LSU guys. That's funny. Yeah, because Ravens historically do not draft LSU guys.
Yeah. Interesting. Look, to be honest, I think the Ravens, and I will say this again this year, they should draft offense and pay defense, because defensively, usually you hear like, oh, this is the draft for the D lineman, blah blah blah. Yeah, this is not the draft for the D line this year. So, guys, are you available to stay for phone lines?
Yeah, I can stay for.
Yeah, I got a little bit of time.
Okay, we have 2 here waiting for us. Let me do this real quick. And for some reason, this thing is.
Hey, what's going on, fella?
Hey, who's this?
This is Garnett, isn't it?
Garnett, man.
Hey, man. How you
I knew
doing?
that voice.
I knew that voice.
Doing all right. How about y'all?
Not bad, man. So I heard you comment. I'm in drugs. It's okay. I hear you.
Oh no, you good, man. I was just watching the draft, man, seeing how y'all was doing out there.
What do you think?
I would say if I can give you some names in the DM, so you can look up and do some research on, man, because there's a lot of potential, a lot of great fits out there for our team. That's one thing I would say, especially when it comes to center position, tight end, edge or interior / edge. There's a lot of great pieces out there you can get. So yeah, the Creed Humphreys of the world, I'm trying to think of all the big time names that everybody knows. People forget about so there's Josh Myers at center out of Ohio State. Yes, we know everybody knows Justin Fields was the quarterback. Same almost the same type of style that he was coming from. Also, it's just certain things like that, but there's a lot of pieces out there, man.
So then let me ask you this. You got both centers on the second round. Both centers were gone, right? The 2 cream of the crop centers in Humphrey and God, I can't think of his name, Dickerson.
Hello?
Both of those were gone.
Hold on. Can you not hear Fred?
I can't hear Fred or Scott. I can't hear nobody.
Scott's not talking.
Can you hear me?
I'm surprised that you cannot hear. Why? Why are you being stupid? Hold on. I can fix this real quick. Well, hopefully I can fix this real quick. Fred, can you talk now?
Yeah, man. Can you hear me?
I guess he can't hear you. Let me do this. Oh, wait. This is not the problem. It's the... I see here. Hold on. Technical difficulties. Damn it.
Take your time, man. Take your time. I'm out here delivering pieces at the same time, dog.
You gonna bring? Well, I was gonna say he can't hear me. I was gonna ask him if he could bring one my way.
Can you not hear them yet?
No, I can't hear nobody.
Garnett.
Talk one more time, Scott, or Fred.
Can you hear me, Garnett?
Can you hear us, Garnett?
I guess not.
Yes and no.
This is disappointing.
My point, Sonny, and you can relay this message to him, is in the second round there, right? Both cream of the crop centers were off the board, right? And you had Rousseau there as an option, which I did not expect him to be there. You're going to take the Ohio State center in the second round over him?
So Garnett, he said he asked, would you to take in the center of Ohio State over Rousseau in the second round?
Say again one more time, that last part.
He said, would you take in the center of Ohio State over Rousseau in the second round?
No, I would have definitely took Russo. Like, it's funny. Me and you have a sit on one-on-one with me, you, and Coach Evans. So we're huge Miami fans. So we study players. We study players a little bit hard, especially because of our school. When it comes to just pure talent-wise, Gregory Rousseau is like basically the untapped potential. He's basically that Yetur Gross Matos, that kid that came out of Penn State last year. I think it's Penn State. just super tall, lanky, just a physical specimen. And you gotta think he played receiver coming out of high school, moved positions to the edge, so he's only gonna get better. And he was able to get that many sacks in that little time. So I would play like this. I would be a damn fool if I passed up on him if he's there in a second. That's just me.
That's all I was trying to say.
If we trust our coaching staff, like how we always say we do, I would say, hey, here's a piece. You play with it and you make it work. This is your toy. Winking, you go for it. Anything Fred got to say? Or I don't know. I can't hear nobody.
No. I mean, I'm trying to relay here the information, but yeah, I think Fred was saying the same thing. Fred, I mean, I'm just thinking that he's too raw, and I want my first and second round pick to be more impactful this year.
You know who else was a raw pick?
Here's the thing. It's like
Caius Bowser. That worked out pretty good.
But he could be impactful. It's like you can say he's raw, but we sit here and we praise Wink Martindale for being able to draw up all these exotic blitzes and all these things, right? Mm-hmm. But when it comes to like, when have we ever asked them, okay, here's a raw player, you solve him and you put him in the best position to ball out. So it's one of those things where it's like the same thing with receiver. Like some people are scared to get certain receivers. Well, if you trust this new coaching staff that we're getting, it's like it's a give and take process, man. It's like when you say you're throwing it up for alley, you better hope he comes down with a slam dunk. You know, you got to take chances, dog. And I would, pass rusher wise, I would wait for Quincy Roche. If you want a pure edge rusher, you go with Roche. If you want a complete outside edge linebacker, you go with Phillips. If you want, untapped potential where you don't know what the hell, he's going to be good, but you don't know how good, but he can be really good. Like that's who Gregory Russo is, and he's literally in the middle when it comes to like you don't know what you're going to get.
Russo, exactly. I agree with that. You don't know. He can be a great player. He can be a bust. I agree with that.
But I'm just saying, like with the upside, he could be better than literally everybody in that draft class for all we know. So it's like I said, it's all about the coaching. The potential's there. That's not an issue. It's all about what does he want and what can you get out of him. That's all I can say about that part. But yeah, but what do you say about the center part, or is there any other positions?
No, well, he was basically saying in the second round, would have you gone something different?
Right. We had gone wide receiver in the first.
I would have went if we want to. I don't know. This is what's sort of weird about this whole. The Ravens philosophy, or like, are we a team right now that are we like still in a window, or are we trying to like capitalize in the window, or are we trying to build for the future? Because that's where I'm getting confused when it comes to how the draft board could fall and how we could position ourselves. Because you can be like, if somebody says, hey, yeah, we're trying to capitalize on the window, and I'm like, okay, well, we need to figure out how we trade Orlando Brown, and then people will give pushback and be like, hey, whoa. Well, just in case, what if Stanley's not healthy? Well, I'm willing to take that chance since we're trying to like capitalize on the window, right? It's one of those things where you either or. Like we're short on draft capital. In my opinion, we don't need that many draft picks because we already have a team that's somewhat already built. We just need a couple pieces. We need 2 edge, a center, a receiver, and then a rotational deep third safety. Like. And then also a tight end, whatever works. So if you think about it, that's five to six legitimate pieces that we actually need. And then the safety is a rotational guy. So when you really think about it, it's like, okay, well, you got to be willing to give up something to move up to get something that you might really critically need. So that's why that's how I feel about this draft. And this is like, I don't know how the hell this draft is going to go, to be honest with you. And when Carolina made that trade, with the Jets, that just increased everything. Well, they're going to grab a playmaker. They're going to grab, either say if Kyle Pitts falls, they're going to grab him. Well, Jalen Waddle's there. They're going to get one of those big receivers. So yeah, I think the skill players in my head are going to fall faster than any other position. So the edge on the back end, though, we can capitalize and get an edge in the second because it's there. So it's all about how we want to play the first. well, how we play the board, or do we want to move Orlando? Orlando is like the biggest mystery piece of all time for right now. If we trade him, I feel so much comfortable. I'm pretty sure everybody will feel comfortable after we do the trade. That's my opinion, man.
Would you feel comfortable? Would you feel comfortable if they don't trade him and they wind up winning a Super Bowl with him? Think about that.
Gardner, I'm assuming you didn't hear Scott, but what Scott said is, will you feel comfortable if they don't trade him, but they win a Super Bowl with him?
I don't like. I'm just being real. I don't see us winning a Super Bowl right now. I truly don't. Like with the roster we have right now, like say I just don't see us winning one. Like it's one of those things where if we win one, cool, yeah, I'd be cool with it. But like in all reality, I don't see it happening. I just don't. There's too many like what else right now, or too many question marks, too many variables that I'm like trying to figure out and put together myself, and I'm pretty sure everybody else is trying to. But if we're trying to relive this 2019, I'm all about it. Like I'm completely all about it. I think that's where everybody's so like, if we can just get back to 2019. Well, I know the Hayden Hurst was a big piece, and we need an ace. We need an H-back type of tight end. We don't need a lumbering 6'5", just the typical, prototype tight end. We need a guy that can do a speed sweep, that can just move around like just like Hayden Hurst was, or like the guy that came from Tennessee that went to New England. We need a guy that's just a jack of all trades tight end. So we want to relive that, yeah. But we also what we need to do is basically just move around a couple pieces inside the offensive line. And that's what I'm saying. Like it's for us to capitalize in that window that we're trying to do, someone has to go. Like he has to go.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like us sitting at 27, it's like we're just getting BPA right now. That's the best way to put it. 27 is just nothing but best player available. And we're not in the driver's seat of our own future in my eyes. That's what I say. That's what I'm trying to get at, bro.
No, I agree. I mean, yeah, when you're 27, you're there. You're last. It's whatever it is out there. So
just remember, you're not going to get 5 immediate impactful players out of the draft. I'm just going to say that right now. You're not going to get 5 impactful. And for people that think that way, you don't understand how football works. You don't understand how the draft works. I'm going to call people out for that because it's your top 2. He'll relay it. Your top 2 are the guys that you expect to be the most impactful right now. Right, so you're not going to get 5 impactful players. So to sit here and say that trading OBJ is gonna solve all the problems, okay, you pick up 1, but you also lose 1. Just remember that. So. Oh,
now I can hear you.
I fixed it.
All right. Do I need to repeat it for him?
Yes, repeat it.
All right. So what my point was, Garnett, was the fact that you're not going to get 5 impactful players in this draft. You're not going to get 5 guys that are going to come in today and make a difference. So what you need to do is, yes, you have to maximize. But yeah, you can give up OBJ and you could try to get somebody out of this draft, but there's no guarantees on that because you're also losing a guy out of this. Right? You're losing a proven guy to go after a guy that we've seen how many number 1 draft picks not translate to the NFL. And I get it's an offensive lineman, but if you're going and getting a wide receiver in the first round because you're trading him away, it's not a guarantee. Especially with wide receiver for the Ravens. We know that. So my whole point was we need to remember you are not getting 5 impactful players out of this draft that solve your problems. You're going to get 2. If you're lucky, you're going to get 3 that are going to be impactful in this year. So you need to remember you can't leverage now, or you can't leverage your future just for now, and you also can't leverage now for your future, right? If you're going to do that, if you're going to make that trade, it has to be right, and the player that you're wanting has to be the perfect fit. And I just don't know that I can say that. I think you let him go, and if we're not making a run. Again, are we getting a compensatory pick, 3rd round pick for him versus getting a 1st round? Does that suck? Yeah. But my whole point is if we're only, a few pieces away that you can get in the draft and then supplement with any, free agency pieces, I think it's there. I don't fully see the whole trade Orlando Brown thing before the draft. If you aren't trading him before the draft, I'm not sure you're trading him after the draft.
Okay.
Oh, I absolutely. Did he hear me? Oh, I asked, did he hear me or not?
Yeah, I can hear you.
yeah.
Oh, perfect. So, like, oh, this is perfect. So, it's one of the things where I understand your philosophy. Like, it's one of the things where, but here's the thing about, I'm all about, so if you believe this is the window, okay, I got you. This is our opportunity. But at the same time, though, it's like, that's what I'm saying. If we're all in, we're all in. I got you. But if we're like trying to like, oh, we're trying to also prepare for the future, it's like you can't have both. And that's where a lot of people, a lot of times what I say, hey, I'm all about, hey, if we can trade Orlando Brown to the Chargers or somebody that needs a left tackle for a first or whatever we can get, I'm pretty sure all of y'all would agree, yeah, that'd be a good move because we're getting something back.
Garnett,
I'm just saying, like, a 1-for-1 swap. Go ahead, man.
Let me ask you a question, right? Ravens have won 2 Super Bowls in their history, right? Have they ever pushed all their chips in on one season ever?
The season after, right? The first Super Bowl, they tried to.
They tried to, and it didn't work out, and it backfired. It was the
out,
one time, right? So I don't see this is where when you ask that kind of a question, it's a delicate balance. You know, this is where the most successful franchises stay successful long term is that they're building for now, but they're not throwing everything at the table for the sake of throwing everything at the table that's going to jeopardize their future. You'll never see Eric DeCosta or anybody that runs this organization make bad moves just to bring in a player. That's why, like, I know you watch the show all the time. When we were talking about like the Allen Robinsons of the world and the Kenny Galladays of the world, like they're the sexy names out there. If you look at their stats, they make, they put up these numbers. How much of those stats and how much of those numbers are they putting up in this offense for the amount of money that it's going to require to bring them in? That's why I wasn't on board with bringing either one of those guys in. And that's why I don't think that those types of deals happen, is because the Ravens aren't going to jeopardize their future on a 5-6 year deal or a 4 or 5 year deal with these guys when they know they've got bigger things that they've got to pay on the horizon in the next year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I completely agree with that part, what you're trying to say, but also it's like, if you're never going to take it, I'm not saying you give away, for one, I'm not saying you give away a future. All I'm just saying is just trade one guy. And that one guy can get you maybe 2 picks, or it can get you a premier player pick. That's all I'm getting. I'm not saying. Are you
talking about trading Orlando Brown?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I 100%, and I believe wholeheartedly the Ravens want to trade Orlando Brown, but they're not going to do that for the sake of doing it, just to get a little bit better of a pick than a compensatory pick. They're going to play their cards until the last minute. I believe that the Ravens have draft plan A and draft plan B. Draft plan A is without Orlando. Draft plan B is with Orlando. And I really think they're going to go until the last minute to try to get the best offer that they can for him.
Yeah, so I was talking to Ken a while back, and I said this is literally the week before the draft or during the draft is peak value for Orlando. Because when that board, if Penei Sewell or Slater or whoever falls off that board immediately, somebody's going to panic and like, hey, is that offer still available? Hey, we'll throw this in there with it. So I agree with you. It's like cash is king. I'm going to a car lot to buy a Mercedes and like, hey, I'll pay this right here, but I got more in my back pocket just in case. I think that's our, you know what I mean? It's one of the things that's what we're doing with Orlando. I know we're baiting. We're just baiting people, man. I completely agree with you, but all I'm saying is, like, I just don't know, like, what we're going to do. This is like last year. We all knew we were going for a linebacker in the first. You know what I mean? It's like one of the things where if somebody was to tell me, hey, I know exactly what we're going to do or what we're going to go in the first, I would literally pay that man my paycheck if he's right. Because the fact that there's so many critical holes. We know we need a center. We know we need an edge. If we do trade Orlando, I feel safe for getting, to be honest with you, I feel safe for getting a left tackle because there's a plethora of a lot of guys that people are not talking about, which is good, that I can get literally in the same round where I got Orlando in the third. Like this, I'm not gonna say the names, but I could say the names because I'm not big time. But there's a Stone Forsythe, Josh Ball. There's so many other tackles that are like mammoth, are hella good. But is this one of the things? I don't know how we're viewing the board. None of us can see the board. That's all I'm
And to
saying.
be fair, also Lamar makes the tackles
Lamar
better,
makes
right? They makes the O
exactly.
line better. Now I will say this: a team that people for some reason that hasn't talked a lot, and I think is an intriguing trade partner for Orlando Brown Jr. is the Cowboys. Cowboys have had a very decimated O line, you know, and I think they're gonna try to get one of the top tackles at 10, but they might be able to trade the 10th pick for Orlando Brown Jr. And now if we get there to the
Phew,
10th,
all day long, I'm doing that.
yeah, if you get to the 10th, now you're in striking distance for a super playmaker, right? Maybe you can pair those two and get like top elite receiver. Anyway, it's all good. It's all good in dreams. We'll see what happens. I agree. This is one of the weirdest drafts. It's been very hard for me to point like this is the dude, this is not the dude. It's been very interesting to scout these players.
Hey,
100%
so
agree.
I'll say this last thing before I get off. So I was thinking about this and I was looking at some numbers. So I got a little metric system I was trying to build up. So all the tackles that went last year had way better like athletic, like better combine profile than every single tackle that is coming out this year. But everyone's swearing Penei Sewell and Slater are like the next best thing to slice bread. So I just want to keep that out. Like it's like I think the hype is just getting super high for a lot of players. But when you look at the stats of the previous guys that came out, they were way better. Like Tristan Wirfs was literally like ran a 4.8, but Penei Sewell ran a 5.2. But they're saying like he's like athletically insane. So it's crazy how people are like saying generational talent or throwing that thing around. Oh, no.
Very loosely.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure to have you, man.
Man, I love y'all, man.
Appreciate it, Garnett.
I mean, go ahead.
Take care all day. So we will have to say bye here to Scott real quick. Right? Will you be able to stay to the last call we have?
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So Scott, thank you for joining, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. It's always fun to have you guys. It's always good to have both the BSers here. So thank you, man.
Yeah, there wasn't as much banner as there usually is between you and I, Sonny. It was crazy. I'm not used to it, right? No. Hey, man, I appreciate you having me on. I got to roll a little kiddo and a dog to take care of, so I got to roll. But I appreciate you having me on, and we got to do the same for you, get you on the show again, and kind of talk a little bit more about this draft as we get closer. I know Fred and I have talked about doing mock drafts again this year as well, so we'll kind of be doing the same thing, and we'll get you on, man.
Appreciate it, man. We'll see you later.
All right, see you guys.
See you in a few hours.
Okay, so let me do the last call here real quick. I'm happy that at least I fixed the shit. Hey, man, how you doing?
What's good, guys?
This is
What's going on,
Dundee.
man? How are you?
Hey, Scott. I'm good.
This is Fred, by the way. This is Fred.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
No worries, man. No worries.
Sorry.
It's easy to confuse them.
I just had like a few overall Raven questions I had for you. We'll just get right into it. Do you think bringing in Rex Ryan's brother will be a replacement for Wink if Wink decides to leave next season? After next season?
I hope not.
No, I'm not a big fan of Rob Ryan. He can be a decent linebacker coach.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of Rob Ryan. He's definitely not his brother.
I agree with you. I think he's good with the linebackers, especially the young guys. But yeah, that's my limit with him.
I think my problem with him is just a play caller in defense.
Yeah.
There's
a fine line between being aggressive and being stupid, and he crosses to that line of being stupid as a defensive coordinator.
I'm not the big. I think he's probably a good teacher. I mean, he comes for the pedigree. I think as a linebacker coach, he can stay there for the rest of his life if he wants to be a Raven. But yeah, that's where he will stay.
Okay, cool. All right, like listening to outside noise, do you think like the front office even pays attention to it at all, or no?
I don't think so. But what do you think, Fred?
I think Lacey probably feeds him a bunch of stuff that she sees on Twitter. But other than that, nah, man. I mean, they're not. I think we'd be naive to say that they don't hop on Twitter, or they don't, hop on social networks and just laugh at some of the stuff that they probably see, but to actually think that they take it any kind of consideration, no. Not at all.
No, for example, they probably know that the Ravens fans want a wide receiver and edge, right? And even though we need an O lineman, they know that probably Ravens fans don't care that much for interior O line. But for there to be like, okay, we need to appease the fans. I mean, Aussie wasn't big on that. The Costa, I haven't seen him doing that either. So yeah, I don't think they pay too much. Which is the best, right? It's for the best.
I'll put it to you like this: if they listened to social media, Raven social media at all, J.K. Dobbins would have never been a Raven.
They would have listened to me, Jacob Robbins. Dobbins would have been a
Yeah,
Raven.
listen to the son, he would have never been a Raven. Definitely. What's it, what do you know Lamar struggled with the passing scheme? Let me just say the scheme because it falls on Greg Roman. Do you think he has enough? I'm not even gonna use clout, but like influence on pressuring plays or not?
Let me see if I understand the question. You're saying with the struggles that he has in the passing game, do you think he's making himself? He's
Like, do you think?
pressure?
Are you asking like, does he have the ability to call audibles at the line and that kind of thing?
Yeah. Well, let me like rephrase it. So, like, obviously he's won MVP, but he doesn't show like the frustration like a normal quarterback would when shit's not going his route. Like he seems cool, calm, collected. Not like Joe Cool that just has no emotion. But does he have like the pull yet to just change up the play at the line?
I think he has pull because when he wants to go fourth down, he sends that offense back.
Right.
And to be honest, I don't know about you, Fred. I think he has too much pull sometimes because I'm like, I don't think I want to go here fourth down, and he will shake the coach off, and the coach right now for some reason is giving him a blank saying, okay, whatever, we won't go.
I think there's a delicate balance with that because you gotta make Lamar happy in the sense that he has his thumbprint on this offense, right? You don't want to be too controlling over him, but yeah, I do agree that there's kind of a fine line where you don't want to give him too much control. So yeah, I kind of agree with you, Sonny. There are times where you think maybe not be so aggressive here.
Yeah. Now I would say this in audibles. If you're asking for audibles, I think if he's not doing too many audibles, I think that's something that they can give him more, and get him. He's watching the field. He's watching the defense react as he's studying more film. He should be able to audible more. My problem is more on those fourth down. That I think if it was for him, anything 4th and 3, he will go for. And I'm like, there's situations, and I think Harbaugh. I think he needs to sometimes rail him down. Like, no, we're not going for it.
Like, just going off of that a little bit, do you think we're actually going to go back to like the old idea of get to the 40, let Justin kick it if the offense isn't moving, as opposed to risking it going off of analytics like that?
Nah, I don't think that's the case at all because Harbaugh has kind of developed himself into a more aggressive coach over the last couple of years too, and I think Lamar gives you that flexibility to be able to do that. I mean, there are times, yes, where I feel like, man, just take the 3 points, put the points on the board, and we should be doing that more often. But I don't think you'll see like what it was with Flacco because of how dynamic this offense is, especially on the ground game. So a lot of those short yardage situations, the 4th and 2s, the 4th and 1s and stuff, I think you'll still continue to see them be aggressive there. But to Sonny's point, there are some times where it's just like, pull back on a little bit, take the 3 points, and you count your blessings you got through.
I will say this. I hate Lamar as a sneaker, as a QB sneak. I dislike him a lot because he doesn't know how to fall forward. He looks for to find the hole so he can go more, and that's not what all you want there. And now it has worked. There was 1 or twice that he was supposed to sneak and then he took it to the house, and that's great. But we also got stopped a couple of times in a 4th and 1 QB sneak because he doesn't know how to fall forward, and he's not the biggest guy either. But I wish he knew how to just find the crease and just dump himself forward.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you guys feel that like the Ravens have just accepted the fact that the pass rush has been almost non-existent the past couple of years, and with the backfield playing such tight coverage, they can just leave that alone a little bit and probably try to invest more into the corners and safeties?
I think they wanted the pass rush to be better. This is the reason why they brought Yannick last year. As you know, I thought Yannick might be not the best fit for this type of defense. I mean, I was proven right, but at least they try. I think they know if the Ravens can generate a pressure with their pass rush, this defense is top of the league, because these corners are good enough for them to hold. If you're generating pressure with the D line, now you can throw your backers just to make some zone reads, and the safeties also. As it is, the pass rush is not good enough, so now they have to blitz, and those corners are always on the island. So that's why they have tried, but they haven't succeeded. So as at this point, they figured, well, if we cannot, they just keep blitzing and hope for the best.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I don't think the Ravens value it as far as free agents go. So talking about pass rush goes, I think the Ravens thought they were maybe one piece away last year from being a serious contender. That's why they brought in Yannick. But I mean, when you look at the history of what the Ravens have done in pass rushes, they draft guys, they develop guys, and then they let them get paid elsewhere. It started with Paul Kruger years ago, and then he got paid by the Browns, and then it went to Pernell McPhee, and he went and got paid by the Bears, and then Zadarius, and now Matt Judon. I feel like they're pretty good at developing. Now, do they get the flashy numbers, the sack numbers that we all want to see on paper? No, but I feel like they rely on having a very good secondary, having a good coaching staff, and then being able to plug the holes where they need to with some veteran leadership. And I kind of think they're going to follow that same MO this year.
Yep, I agree.
As far as OBJ getting traded or not getting traded, let's say he doesn't get traded by the draft, and we go through the whole draft and everything. What needs would have not been felt met during the draft that you would try to address with him afterwards?
I mean,
go ahead. Yeah. I hate hypotheticals.
No, but I follow you. I think the big thing with the Orlando Brown is if you trade him, you're taking that pick essentially to pick another tackle, right? The hope is you can get more than a first, but essentially, let's say you only get a first. Well, you're going to replace Orlando Brown as a right tackle in the draft. That's the hope. Maybe not in the first, maybe in the second. So if you trade him, you need to replace him with whatever you got. If you don't trade him, then you don't have to get that right tackle, let Orlando Brown play. Because if you don't trade Orlando Brown, what could happen is the Ravens can say, okay, Terry Phillips, you know what? You might be good enough for a right tackle. Stay an extra year behind Orlando Brown, learn it. And the following year, they put Terry Phillips there. And essentially, you didn't have to draft a tackle. Now, if they trade him, again, like I said earlier, Terry Phillips was so raw. And he might be ready, he might be not. I'm not there to know. The Ravens should know this, but I would say I'm not super comfortable if by day one we break with Terry Phillips being our right tackle. It might be okay, but I will not be as comfortable with that, especially with Stanley coming out of an injury. So ideally, if you trade him, you go get there, and in the first 2 rounds, you pick a tackle.
Yeah. I honestly, I am not sold on Tyree Phillips at all at this point. I'm going to need to see another year of play before I'm ready to call him a starter by any means. At this point, I feel like he's best as a swing tackle at best. I do not want to see him on the field as a starter. And I think if you are going to trade Orlando Brown, you absolutely have to have the starting replacement in the folds, meaning that you're going to have to use one of the high round draft picks to get that offensive tackle. If you're trading him after the draft, you better have drafted a tackle knowing that you were going to do that after the draft. So if you don't have somebody in the wings, I don't think you do it.
I agree.
The last one for you guys. All right. Would you consider Greg Roman to be on the chopping block if we go 0-3 to start the season? No.
I mean, he would be in the chopping block. He can be in the chopping block, but Harbaugh not one of those guys that pulls the trigger real quick, right? And we'll have to see what's happening, right? Because Because Greg Roman can always say, last year, O-line was decimated. Obviously, that takes a hit into any offense. You take Tom Brady, for example. Since they won the Super Bowl, they lose their left tackle, and they had to put the right tackle on the side, and they lose their right guard, which was what happened for us with Marshall. It's going to be impacted. That's why the Buccaneers invested a high draft pick on a left tackle or on the right tackle. Any O-line is so critical. People just don't pay attention because, as I say, it's the fat guys and nobody cares about them. But those guys are as critical as any receiver that you have in your team. If you have a hell of O-line, all those receivers get extra time. With extra time comes bigger plays. So O-line is, for me, essential. It's just, like I said, my biggest concern right now is I don't know how they feel with their center position. They might be okay, right? That's if they're not okay, I'm really good with drafting either of those two. On the right tackle position, if we have Orlando Brown, obviously we don't need a tackle. And if Orlando Brown's here and they're good with the centers, guards are set, so your O-line is in theory set right now for next year. Now, if you trade Orlando Brown, well, that's a hole. And then center, again, it all depends. I like Humphrey a lot from what I've seen. I haven't done the deep dive, but I like Humphrey a lot. So it all depends how they feel about between Macari and TCC.
So my answer to the question was, would Greg Roman be on the chopping block if they started 0-3? I do think he would be on the chopping block, but the thing is, like, that's not an easy decision that you make. It's not as easy as maybe replacing other offensive coordinators, because whether you like Greg Roman or not, Greg Roman is a system. Everything that Greg Roman is a system, and replacing him with somebody that, maybe they replace him with somebody internal. Maybe they replace him with a T. Martin or a Keith Williams, some of the guys that they just brought in this year. Maybe that's the plan if something like that were to happen. You're potentially changing your entire offensive philosophy. And to do that in the middle of a season just doesn't make sense. It doesn't seem like something the Ravens would do.
No, I agree with that. No, thank you guys, Fred and Sonny, for taking my question. I appreciate that.
Oh, man.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you calling in for sure.
Thank you, bro.
Anytime. All right, you guys have a good one. Take care.
All right, you too.
Okay, guys, we've been long today. We are over an hour and a half. So I'll say thank you, Fred, for coming here.
Yeah, no problem.
I'll let you go where they can find you, bro.
Yeah, man. So you can find the show Birdland BS on all the major platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. On Twitter, it's at Birdland BS. You can follow me at Fred BLBS, as you see down below. I'm pretty active on Twitter. I try to be. So if you got any questions, we have a show tomorrow night, 7:30, live again on all three platforms. If you have any questions or you want to hop in the chat just like you did tonight, man, feel free. We try to work in as many of the questions as we possibly can throughout the show. Sonny, always good to talk to you, man. It's been a while. It's been too long. We got to not have such a lull in between times, but I know you got a lot of things going on. I know your schedule's tough, but we got to figure out a way to make it work more often, man. It's fun.
Appreciate it, man. And hey guys, remember tomorrow, 5:45 p.m. Eastern, AFC North Talk. Go check it out. It's good. It's a good show. It's fun. So come. It will be another fun show tomorrow, 5:45 p.m. Eastern. This week, there's going to be another prospect review. So go expect that. If you haven't seen, I did the Terrence Marshall. I have a Bateman one, Pat Freermuth, Dickerson. I have a couple out there. Go check it out. There's a playlist for all the ones that I've done. Give me your comments if you hate it. If you love it, that's fine. And every Monday, I'm going to try to start here with a player review, and a guest hopefully will join us. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Fred, again. Hey, guys, appreciate all the love. Take care. Hopefully see you tomorrow. Peace out.
God bless.